Hey there, this is Jonathan of the Fountain Pen Guys, and I wanted to take a minute to do a writing sample. We're not going to do a full review, just a writing sample of this. This is the Hinze Pens Evancio, and it has the number 8 nib. And before I do that writing sample, let me just real quickly give a size comparison, because this, my friends, is a giant, giant pen. Just to compare, here it is with a Sailor King of Pen. You'll notice this is a Rhodia dot pad I'm using. You'll notice they're both longer than the Rhodia dot pad is wide. And if you can see that, you'll notice that this pen is thicker. If you take a look at these nibs, which of course is what I'm talking about primarily in this video, if you take a look at these nibs, you'll notice that, let me zoom in on them here. You'll notice that the number 8 Bach nib, titanium nib, is even bigger than the giant nib on the King of Pen. And this is an Ebonite King of Pen, really pretty pen. This is right here. Let me show you also the nib, and then we'll zoom out and get the size of the pen. This is a comparison. This is a number 6 Model 2 Franklin Christoph with a gold nib, a 16 karat, a 14 karat gold nib, sorry about that. And then of course the titanium number 8 nib. You see it's just a giant nib. It's beautiful, beautiful giant nib. Really cool to look at. And the reason I special ordered this from Jim, the reason I special ordered this was because I was at the Dallas Pen Show and I saw an Evancio. And I thought, man, I love that pen, Jim. And then he had this material, this Heimdall material, but he didn't have a pen made in this material. And here it is with the Franklin Christoph, with the King of Pen. And then you'll notice the Franklin Christoph kind of fits right there. And then here it is, just so you have another pen we all know and love, the TWSBI Eco. And I'm going to give you a writing sample. I'm going to compare a couple of these so that you can see what they write like. Jim has a customer who's thinking about getting one of these nibs. Now this nib is a fine nib. And when I ordered this nib, because of my experience with the King of Pen, I kind of wanted I have a medium in my King of Pen. I'll show you a demo of that in a second. But this is the Hinze Pens Evancio. And this is a fine titanium number 8 nib. It's a fun word to write. Just to give you a comparison with a couple of these other nibs, here is my medium King of Pen. And you'll notice that fine nib is almost a little broader than the medium King of Pens nib. And then just for poops and giggles, let's do this is a fine, this is a TWSBI Eco. And in this Hinze pen, I'm using Monteverde Copper Noir. The Sailor pen, I have Monteverde Jade Noir. And in the Eco, I have Sailor Gentle Apricot. And just to give you a picture. So it kind of gives you a picture comparison. You'll notice the Hinze pen writes, the number 8 nib, that's a fine, writes as broad or broader than the medium. I'll tell you honestly, it dumps more ink on the page. And it also, if you are a fan of the King of Pen, if you've written with one of those, it feels very similar. The size and the bouncing, the springiness of the nib seem very similar. And so just real quick, let's quick brown fox it. You'll notice you get quite a bit of gush there when you give it a little bit of pressure. And Jim asked me specifically about line variation. So here's what I would tell you about this nib. It's finer than a normal broad would be, but man, it just dumps ink. It's got this ebonite feed that just pours ink onto the page. And I just love the size of the nib and the way it pours the ink on. Here's a little, so you have just a comparison between the vertical and the horizontal. And then here's a little bit of the different line variation you can get out of it. Here's no pressure at all, a little pressure, and then kind of really squeezing some out. And then here's a little bit of swooshiness for you. This is bigger than I normally write, so my fine motor skills are not keeping up very well. But what I would tell you, it's not a super broad nib. Obviously, it's a fine. But what it does is it puts lots of ink on the page. And I have a planner. The planner I normally write with is it doesn't have the greatest paper in it. And so I have to be very careful with this pen, or it dumps so much on there that it gets super broad on me. And so you have to kind of be careful of your paper. This again is the Rhodia regular dot grid spiral bound pad. And so just kind of gives you a picture, a writing sample for the Hinze Pens Evancio with this fine number 8 titanium nib. And Jim, feel free to comment if I got the nib size wrong or anything like that. Please feel free to comment on this video. Please, anybody who sees this and has questions or comments, let me know. I'd love to chat with you some more about it. Take a minute, subscribe to our channel. You know, so we don't have very many subscribers yet. We would love for you to be one of the first. And so thank you guys for taking a minute to watch this video. Jim, thank you for the invitation to do this for you. You can see the cool material this is made out of. I'd encourage you, check out HinzePens.com, I believe is Jim's website, and I'll have that in the description. You can go check out his website and check out his stuff, and send him a note if you want him to make you something. He's really good about communicating, really good about letting you know, communicating back and forth with you. And so please get in touch with Jim and tell him you want a pen. Let him know what kind you'd like. And I would encourage you, feel free to order this number 8 nib. It is huge and it is a gorgeous nib. You guys have a great day, and come see us again. Subscribe so you'll know when we put new videos out. Thanks a lot.